Alright, so today I'm going to go over some of the page features on the HDS 9 in this particular case. So as we saw in an earlier video I made, if you click on the Pages button and you press and hold, let's say sonar again, it gives you these quick split sonar screens that you can choose from. But if you want to customize your own pages, you can do that right here. And as you can see, I've deleted all the ones I did earlier so that I could show you guys how to do that. I'm going to click on More because it shows you here that you actually have 10 different customizable pages that you can create. So to get started, we're going to click on Customize. We're going to choose our first page, if you will. And right here, it tells you to drag panels from the left side onto the preview area to compose the page layout. So let's say you want sonar. You're just going to touch and drag that over. Let's say you want to add structure. It's as easy as that. If you want to change the position of them, let's say you want sonar on the right and your side scan, structure scan on the left, you can simply do that. If you want to change the way the windows are laid out, there's a button right here that allows you to do that. In this case, you know, you're seeing more history, but you're seeing less information. So I would prefer this one. Once you're done making your changes, if that's one of the ones that you want to become your favorite, just press Save. If you press Clear, it's going to simply clear your work area again. If you click Discard, it'll basically do the same thing. So I'm going to click Save. Alright, and now over here in my favorites, if you will, on my pages, I can click, or touch, I should say, the page that I just created. Alright, now within that, I get a lot of questions about, alright, I've got my depth, alright, but I'm not seeing my temperature, I'm not seeing the date, let's say. If you want to do that, then you have to go into Data Overlay, and again, if you recall, up here in this hidden menu, we have Data Overlay. Alright, the blue bar right here just tells you that Data Overlay is currently on. If you touch it, we really haven't added anything yet, so nothing's disappearing. But if you want to edit the overlay, let's say in this particular page we want to click or touch Add, and we want our water temperature underneath sonar. We check that off, and you can see now up here in the upper left hand corner the water temperature is there. Alright, let's see, I want some more information. We have depth already, but I'm going to make sure that that's on there. And let's see, what else do we have? Time. I get a lot of people ask me, look, I want the date and I want, the time to appear on my page. Well, if my GPS unit could read outside, again, I'm in the basement, I would have my current date and time. And if I press close, and remember, if you want to save your changes, press save. Now, one thing about the data overlay is that it only applies to the page that you're on. Alright, so if we go back to pages, and let's say I choose just structure, alright, you can see on this page that in the past I chose to add the time but not the date. Alright, so if I want to add the date to this page, again, edit overlay, add, and if I touch date, close, save, now I have both the date and the time. Alright, so again, data overlay, very important. It's unique to each page that you access. If you apply it to one page, it does not carry all the way through to your other pages. Again, now I can demonstrate I've got my depth, my temperature, date, and time. If for whatever reason, I can't really think of any, but if you want to turn that information off to give more detail, I guess, on your display, you can simply do that real quick by turning data overlay off. You want to turn it back on, just touch that again, and you're all set. Alright, so that's just a quick demonstration of some of the page features. Let's go back into, well, let's talk about some of the other ones. We've got chart, again, We've got sonar, structure, steer, info, and video. The video is only going to be available on the HDS 9 and above. Right? And right now I currently don't have a camera source added or attached, but if I did, right, I could also have a split screen. Let's say, let me touch video, and you can see I can have both video and sonar, which is kind of nice, because if you're looking at something like this, a bridge, all right, and you have your camera and you stop and drop it, right over here you'll have a nice clear picture of that particular bridge. And you can save that, and it'll have all your GPS coordinates and everything. Info. Now here you can see that there's some specific information. I've got depth over here. SOG is speed over ground. Now a lot of these different gauges, if you will, you're going to need additional items on your boat. And by items I mean such things as engine sensors, different types of, well, another example would be radar. And for those types of devices, if you're out in the ocean, I mean inland where we fish, doesn't matter to me. I've got all the information I could possibly need and then some. You could add different things to your windows, but again you would need those devices added to what I've heard referred to as the NEMA 2000 network. It's really the NMEA, the National Marine Electronics Association. So I think NEMA is just an easy way to pronounce it, but I might do some videos on that in the future, on the differences between the Ethernet networking type and the NEMA 2000 network types, if it'll help anybody. Alright, but let's go back to the other windows and the one I created. There's some other information that you can change here, alright, like how your information is displayed. If we go back and we go to settings, there's some, that's not where I wanted to go, I apologize, I'm going to back up. Let's go back into edit overlay. Change is the button I was looking for, and or configure. If I touch configure, let's look at what happens when I choose invert text. If you look over here at the text right now, if I choose invert it, it just makes it white versus black, and you can highlight those particular items and do the same thing. Well, I kind of like it. The darker color shows up a little bit better, if you ask me, so you can do that. If you want to change the size that's displayed, simply, size, and you've got medium. It's going to really change how that looks. Small, you got extra large. To me, if you choose these larger settings, it just takes up too much information. Alright, but those are other things you can do. The bezel just puts the white text, alright, on a black background. Might help you to see it under certain lighting conditions, who knows, but it's another thing that you can do. You can also change your gauges from a digital type gauge over here to an analog looking gauge, or indication I should say. Let's take a look at that. To me, that's not as helpful. Again, you can see that we've got our digital information laying on top of that analog. Well, if you want to move that, you can just touch and drag it to wherever you want. But you can see, reading that, water temperature, it's halfway between 50 and halfway between 60. I don't particularly like that. So I'm going to go back to the digital. And again, if you want that right up to the top, just click and drag. Alright, so that's basically some of the options, alright, that you have available to you. Again, just to show you, if you create some pages and you don't like them, we can go back to pages. We can touch the page I just created. We can come up here. That's data overlay, edit overlay. No, that's actually not what I wanted to do. Well, you can delete them. Oh, I'm sorry. We got to go back to that. Oh, apologize again. Click on more. Alright, and then you have to use your customize button, alright, when you want to customize or go into the editing mode. So now that we're in customize, if I touch that, you can see, alright, here's what I was looking for: clear, save, and discard. Alright, discard really only changes or gets rid of the changes you're making while you're creating your customized windows. But if you want to delete this, you can see there's no delete function, but clear does that. And then you have to click save, and now you can see back here in your customized windows that it's gone, or pages I should say. Alright, so those are just some of the features of the pages. You can go on and on and on, but a lot of people like to customize their own. I would highly recommend it. I'm going to do it before I get back out on the water, but I wanted to show you some of the different things that you can do with pages. And then next we'll go a little bit more into detail about the data overlay. I've just touched on it in this video, but hopefully we can get some more information out of the edit overlay or the data overlay section of your Lowrance units. And then we'll really get into the nitty gritty. Now this is just kind of an overview of what you have available. Viewer just brings that over to the side. If you want to get rid of that altogether, you should be able to click and or touch and drag that off, but not in this case. Alright, so if we just go back to one of these pre-configured ones, alright, those might be the most helpful. You can see over here that I've already added the time. You know, you're out in tournament, you want to keep track of your time. Speed over ground is helpful. You know, there's a lot of lakes and stuff, and when you're fishing tournaments, we do have speed regulations, so that might help you keep an eye on that. Who knows? There's more in here, just splits and so forth. I've already gone over. That's pretty much that for pages. Again, I'll go into the data overlay section next, and then we'll go into, you know, some of the settings on your sonar that give you more or less detailed information. That's probably what most people will find helpful on these, but hopefully just this overview helps you too, because like I said, I know going through the manual, it's long, it's lengthy, and sometimes it's just better to have somebody show you some of the features. Okay, thanks.